Hello, in this Project in a Box YourPMO video we're going to be looking at the example project which is provided for you when you first log into your new YourPMO system. So when you've logged in you'll see just one project showing here, example project, which I can select like that. This is exactly the same as a normal 4-step project, apart from it has some content pre-populated into it for you, so you can see how the reporting works, and it has an extra link here. Clicking on this link will show you this video that we're looking at right now. So you can navigate your diagram here using point and click. So we've got some documentation areas here. We've got over here live review, which is giving us live content from the database for plans, risks, issues, resources and trend analysis. And in the middle we've got reporting. We don't particularly need to worry about admin in this case. So if I click on project concept, it takes me in and shows me the documentation for the project concept phase. Now, like I say, this is different to a standard 4-step, which would just be created with a blank project mandate template, which you can preview there. But this has also got the sort of things you might collect, some evidence in support of your project mandate, some images, some other files that people have given you. You might also be collecting correspondence. Again, this document is normally provided empty in a new project, but we've collected some emails here that people have sent us about things. So it's documenting that project, and we can preview all of those things there. If we want to proceed on to the start process, we could either do that there, or we could click on the one in the side menu here. And Start has a number of documents. It has some of the same ones, project mandate and comms, as we've seen before. And again, we'll always see the latest content each time. But it also has some extra things. We've got some appointments we can work on, some controls we need to start setting up. And you'll see it gives us a hint and a tip on each of those areas, benefit management as well, etc., as we go through those. So some of these files can be worked on directly in the browser. So this is a PABX file. And here you'll see it offers you preview, which we've got, and also edit. So I can edit this file live in the browser. Things like Word files and Excel and things that we can't edit live in the browser. It offered us a checkout where we could bring the file down locally, make a change to it, put it back up. So this file we can edit live in the browser. I can just click edit. I can come in here, add my notes about that, and I can come in here and see who the project manager is going to be and what date they've been appointed, and all that sort of thing like that, and just save that. And that's now stored. You know, the preview that we're seeing here has that extra information in it, and if I went to advanced, we'd see it's created a history table for that, and we can go and see earlier versions, etc. So what we're generally seeing when we look at this is the latest available version in preview where we can, if not the ability to view it by download. Of course, if we want to add some extra things, we can do that by drag and drop. So I can simply bring this over here, get some files to include in it. So here's some files I have, and I want to add it to the document. So I've got document, add, drag and drop, and I can get my information from here. So I've got some notes somebody's given me like that. I can just drag that in, and you'll see that file is now included over here. Pretty straightforward, adding new content to our project like that. Of course, once we've got this content here, you'll see this one, it has to have a checkout because it's a Word file. We can't edit it live in the browser, but we could check that file out, bring it locally to the machine, check it back in again. Other videos on how to do that as part of your training set. So we are working our way through this process. Like I say, this has some further examples in it that are different to the standard version. So here we've got two different plans. We've got the standard plan, project schedule, risks and issues SPN file, which as you can see is populated. So it's got a plan in it, it's got some risks and issues in it as well. So they're feeding the database automatically. And then we've also got a Microsoft project file. Because it's Microsoft project file, we can't preview it or edit it live in the browser. We could bring it down locally to our machine to do that, but if we have Microsoft Project, of course. Not everybody uses Microsoft Project, but some people do. So we've just added this file here, set it up for reporting, and it's then pulling into reporting. So let's go away and have a look at how that feeds into the live review over here. So let's pick plan tasks. And this is showing me all the tasks for this project from the database. It looks slightly strange because actually there's two, as we said earlier, two plans on this project. One is the planner file, and that's this one here that we could see, and the other one is the Microsoft project file, which is here. They're actually in different date ranges completely, so it looks like two slightly separate plans. But you can see the data brought through from both. They're both classed as sources of tasks for this project, so we're seeing all that information there. We can come down and view it in detail by clicking on particular tasks to see that. And so that's given us all the information for those tasks. We don't have to go to the plan and look at them necessarily. They're here. If we want to change them, of course, we go back and look at them in the plan. And the same would apply to the other things, risks, issues and resources. So the resource chart generated, again, has two blocks because it is a block coming from the Microsoft Project Plan, a block coming from the planner file. Risks and issues, we only have one source for this project. It's from the planner file, and here is the sort of analysis and heat maps, etc., for those risks coming through from that file. View all the information here. You want to make changes, you go back and make the changes in the source file. So that's all bringing through here. We also have trend analysis on this particular item, and this is allowing us to choose a particular set of information we want to see about finances or timelines or all sorts of different things, and it'll go away and get that data. Obviously this is a brand new empty project, so it's just got one data point. As you make changes to this going forwards, you'll see that data building a history, and it stores the history of key properties, and then you can see those through this area of analysis, through the trend analysis. All the other areas are showing you current information, the latest data that we have on that particular item. Feeding that into reports, we can do that here. So a number of different elements here. Something encourages to update files, because of course most of the data in our reports is coming from files held in the project. Those plans, risks, issues, benefits, etc. There's a benefits source in here and a finances source, and again they've been populated with data. We also collect data from property information. So these are the core properties that we might feed into reports. I can come down here and put in who the project manager is, like that, and that will then be available to feed the report and any other information I want to set up into these fields here. So we come back to here. So we've updated our files, we've updated some of the source information. We could go and see published reports, we'll come back to those in a second, or we can go and run an instant project statement report. This is going to produce a standard type report for this project. Just let me hide away the list at the top. So we can see some information, including the project manager we just filled in there, data, properties data coming through from the sources. Again, we've got some history information about status, just 1 month because the project's only just been created. Other things feeding into the various areas here. We've got our summary plan, list of overdue tasks, which is quite long, top 5 issues, top 5 risks, and a benefits trend analysis. That's our standard project statement report. This is actually producing what's called a project statement to print. If I come back and look at the list here, you'll see it's got that one selected in the list all the way down near the bottom, project statement to print. All sorts of different reports you might run, and once you've produced a report, actually you can also see this one's produced a Word. Actually just shows us the HTML straight away because it can in the browser. If we clicked on that, we'd see the Word version of it as well, and we could then choose to publish this report to share it back into the project. Once we're happy with it, we might of course tweak and change the content a little bit before we do that. Now if I come back to the main diagram here, you'll see published reports is where we publish reports. They will then appear in this list here, and this project, this example project, already comes with a couple pre-populated for you. Example project statement, like we saw earlier, and an example poster as well, which is a more complete report, the sort of thing you might give to the sponsor rather than a one-page summary. It might be a 5 or 6 page summary of the project instead. So that's some of the key things around this example project, giving you the idea that you can get straight through to reporting. Of course, every new project that you create will be set up with all the links in place to the source files. If you want to add other source files or edit or change them, you can do that, and there are some other videos about that. But this is just showing you a very typical sort of project environment, the sort of things that you might be doing. So let's go and have a look at the same one in the Windows application as well, just quickly. So here's my Windows application. This is the same example project. You see the diagram's slightly different because we do different things in the Windows application potentially, but it's got exactly the same idea. If I come down and look at my concept, I can see the same things that we saw earlier. I don't preview them here. If I want to see something, I double click on it and it will open as a separate application. Because we're on a laptop or a desktop here, we know we're always going to have available the applications, so we can open it and see a proper, if we wanted to print it, we get a better print from here than printing it from the browser, for example. The more realistic feel for that particular type of file. We looked at, just to show that this is exactly the same thing, in the start we were setting up appointments, weren't we? And we added that extra file, and in fact we can see that that's here and who it was added by, etc. So exactly the same file, basically the same sort of idea. Again, linking to the video. Again, we can produce our reports. Again, we can look at the analysis of data for the project from these links in the boxes here. My involvement. So there you go. That's your example project, pre-populated a little bit so you can see how it works. Plenty of other videos in the session. In your training page, so that you can go and see through these areas in a bit more of a detailed breakdown. Okay, well, I hope you found that helpful, and I hope you find the rest of the videos useful too.